level is a huge discussion regarding security and defense. What do you think should be done next in the European Union?
Well, on the European level, I think it's very important that we start building up our own system of defense, to use our resources, to use our knowledge, our institutions in scientific research, and of course work on a system where our services, military as well as civilian services, would cooperate and exchange the information in full confidence. So due to the lack of exchange, many situations have occurred in Europe which could have been prevented.
Like the terrorist attacks, for example?
Like the terrorist attack. We had the situation that the terrorists were well known as such, as dangerous persons in one country, but in another country they simply were walking around and even be taken into the public service, even to the military, as we know from the German experience. So this is very important conditio sine qua non. And of course, burden sharing. It is equally important that all countries participate to the collective security.
Like in NATO?
Like in NATO. But this applies also for the countries who are not members of NATO. I think it is important to take note about the fact that there are some countries who don't see their prospect in NATO, but they definitely should participate in a flexible system of collective defense.
Do you really see this happening in the next period? Creation of this new army, the European one?
Well, I am a little bit skeptical about new army, because I don't believe that all countries, especially the big ones and those who have more sophisticated weaponry, are like atomic power, that they will be ready to completely share their information and the resources. But we have to do definitely more than almost phantomic common army we have near Strasbourg, and which really was meant more as a model than as an efficient body for the increase of European common security.
Who is going to be against such a cooperation between European states?
Well, now when after the Brexit, it is probably a little bit easier to achieve a consent in this regard, and to dispel these debates whether or not such a European common defense is in concurrence with NATO. I see these two organizations absolutely compatible, so they can do the things together and share the resources and tasks. So it is difficult to say who will be less, who will be more enthusiastic to share. But I think the time has come where there is almost an agreement in 27 European countries.
Will this cost us in terms of money?
Well, in the terms of money, we know we have this debate all around Europe. What is the appropriate time in which all countries could come to this wishful share of 2% of GDP for defense? For some countries it is difficult, and they would prefer to give some more contribution in some different fields, rather than speaking about hardware, military hardware. So I think this should be taken into account also.
Do you feel safe in European Union?
Well, I think everybody in European Union has enough reason to feel safe. Even though, as you might know, you are from Romania, you are also in the neighborhood of Western Balkan, and there some kind of conflicts are always going on. These are not military conflicts for the time being, but at a certain circumstances, it always can some hostilities could begin. So therefore, I am absolutely persuaded that what we can offer to these countries who are still having bilateral issues and internal problems is European prospect. I think that we should not stop before all countries of Southeastern Europe are members of European Union, and if they wish so, NATO.
What will be the difference for me as a citizen after having this defense system?
Well, I think it will be more the feeling and insurances that we are living in a system of collective security. Nowadays, no single country can act alone. This interoperability is extremely important in the military and security sector. So I think that already now in European Union, with the membership in European Union, and if we put aside membership on NATO, means that every single citizen can feel that he is a part of a big family, of a structured, solid, and I would say progressive family, our common house. No?
We know that now, in our times, let's say, the secret services are exchanging information. So what's the difference from now to then, when we'll have that defense system? What's stopping them now to intervene, to stop the criminals?
Yeah. I think it is a big difference, because if we want to efficiently fight the terrorism, it is important to exchange the information practically on the daily basis, to build up a system of information, to be able to provide the right information fast and to everybody who needs it. So the threats are moving, the threats are all around us. So everybody has to be aware of it and has to be well prepared. Of course, it does not mean that every citizen is now engaged into finding, searching for the enemies and defending the others. But this is the task of the security services and defense organizations.
When will this defense organization start working?
Well,
give me a timetable, let's say.
Well, it's difficult to say, but I think it should start in few years from now. Now, what probably not at a certain day, but it has to grow. It has to be accepted. It has to be somehow made adapted to each other.
Thank you so much for your comments and for your presence. I will focus now on Romania, see exactly how this discussion will affect us.